Since the 2010s, Baby Smoove has cemented himself as one of the most successful artists to come out of Detroit's rap scene. He's created a loyal following from his unique sound and image, but there's one key factor that is detrimental to his success: his beat selection. People are addicted to his uniquely dark, laid-back, almost psychedelic sounding beats. So in today's video, I'll be showing everything you need to know behind the beat production of Baby Smoove.
I'm Pablo Escobar mixed with some Clark Kent. She like your head big as hell, but she talking about my dick. I'm in the house bored as hell, I done faced me a six. I be facing big.
Now the majority of this beat's gonna be heavily influenced by these two songs I'm about to play right now. Fun fact, those songs I just played, along with all the other songs I'll be using as inspiration throughout this beat, is actually produced all by the same person, and his name is Michigan Meech. He's produced countless other records with Baby Smoove, as well as notable artists such as Babytron and Ice Vezo. So enough talking, let's dive into the beat. One of the most distinctive qualities about Meech's beats is this eerie, laid-back piano. It almost gives like 007 vibes. You hear it in examples I played earlier, as well as this song right here.
Secret stuff.
For these beats, you typically want like a faster trap type of vibe. So I set my tempo at 170, and I grab this electric piano from Keyscape, and I lay down this simple chord progression right here. Now this is a simple 4-2-1 chord progression in the key of B minor. And for y'all who don't understand a word I just said, don't worry, I got y'all. So essentially in the key, let's just use B minor for example, since we're already in it. There's 7 notes, right? So in B minor it'll be B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G, A, and then back to B again. To create chords, all you gotta do is take one of those notes. So the first chord in our progression is E, right? Take E, and you're gonna skip a note and then place it on the next note in the scale. So in B minor, the next note would be F, but we're gonna skip that and then go to G. So we got E, G. Now we got 2 notes, we're just gonna do that one more time. So from G, we're gonna skip A and place the note at B. So now we got E, G, B. That creates the E minor triad, tri meaning 3. Now the reason that makes these melodies so unique is the use of this chord right here. This is what you call a diminished chord, and essentially what that is the 3rd notes and the 5th notes of its major counterpart being brought down a half step. So for C major, C, E, G, we're gonna take the 3rd note, which is E, bring it down a half step. And for y'all who don't know, a half step is essentially just one note on the piano key. So E becomes E flat. Then the 5th note, G, we're gonna take it down a half step as well, G to G flat. So now we got C, E flat, G flat. And if you hear that, it sounds very like unsettling and dark, which is why I call it forbidden. But that vibe is exactly what we're going for in these type of beats. Now you'll notice I have these little notes in between the chords, and this is what I like to call filler notes. Basically, it sounds a little bit empty, and I wanted something to fill in that void, that little space, right? In a lot of Meech's beats, you can hear strings that are played at a higher octave, and all it does is follows the root notes of the melody. So I did the same here, and this is what it sounds like. And if you don't want to spend $1 million on plugins, but still want like authentic, realistic orchestral sounds, I highly recommend this VST right here. It's a free VST called BBC Symphony Orchestra by Spitfire Audio, and the sounds are pretty good quality for it being free. Alright, now that we got a solid bass to our melody, it's time to add some ear candy. A lot of Baby Smoove's beats have this simple top line melody, either bells or a key, which can be heard in this song right here. Again, I grabbed the piano from Keyscape. This time it was the LA Custom C7, and this is what I came up with. And for the people wondering about effects, I really didn't add much because I liked how the stock sounds already sounded. But for everything, I just put an EQ cutting out the lows and a little bit of the mids so it doesn't sound muddy. And that's a tip for y'all. If you guys have a lot of sounds that are hitting the same frequencies, lower that frequency so it doesn't like clash with each other and become a big muddy mess, you feel me? All right, now for drums, I start off with a simple rim just to get the balance going. Next for hi-hats, I really like how Meech uses these little quick 1/8 hi-hat rolls. It adds so much bounce to the pattern. So first, I lay down an initial 2-step, really simple. And on the last 2 beats of measure 4, I put this little 8th note roll in. Now, if you notice, all the velocities of my hi-hats are at different levels, and that's simply because I don't want it to sound too robotic, you know, hitting every single note every single time at the exact pitch. So all you gotta do if you're on FL Studio is press Alt-R, and it brings up this randomizer, and you just have to play with the velocity knob right here and the panning knob a little bit. Now, one characteristic that really stands out to me in Meech's beats is that he almost always opts in for using a sub 808 and a kick instead of a hard hitting 808 like the spins or the Zay. So this is the pattern I came up with. Now, I didn't want the kick to hit every single time an 808 hit because I felt like that would almost overpower the beat. And in these beats, you want, well, in almost every beat, you want a decent amount of space because you gotta remember, the artist is gonna hop on it. If the beat's too overcrowded, there's gonna be no space for the artist. All right, moving on. I know it looks like there's a lot of perks, but I promise you it's stupid simple. First, I added this clav. And then this tonal perk, funny story, when I was making the beat, for some reason in my head, there's this audio clip that just kept playing. It was like that, obviously I didn't end up putting it in, although it might have been hard, not gonna lie. But instead I opted out for this perk. Next, I added a triangle that's hitting on every measure, as well as a short open hat that's hitting every 2 measures. Finally was this tubular bell that just follows the root notes. It's the exact same pattern as the strings, essentially just another layer. Now remember I said the perks were stupid simple? It's because all of these perks are hitting at the same time as the kick. Almost all of them, like 99% of them. So basically everything is just adding layers. And I feel like layers is what gives beats that extra element that like separates yourself from the rest. With the kick, this is what everything sounds like. And just like that, you've created a hard beat for Baby Smoove. I'm gonna play the full beat for y'all. Let me know what y'all think. Much wraps up this video. If you learned any tips or tricks or any techniques, please hit the subscribe and like the video so I can continue making this content for y'all. Other than that, I appreciate everyone who's watched this video thus far, but till the next episode, I'll catch y'all.